Hello and welcome to Happy Fabric, where we specialise in heat presses, heat transfer vinyl and all things heat printing. So today is a very exciting live and sort of masterclass on all things around not wasting your HTV. So working with leftover pieces of heat transfer vinyl, around buying it and cutting it in a way that will save you money and also gets you to use up all of that brilliant heat transfer vinyl that you might have hiding in your stash. So we'll start today at the most obvious part, which is right at the start when you are buying your vinyl. So here at Happy Fabric, we sell vinyl from A4 sizes all the way up to by the meter. So obviously it will depend on the project you're making and how often you're making things with heat transfer vinyl in certain colours, but always try and buy bigger where you can would be my top tip. That way it's there for you when you need it and you're not spending more money on shipping costs when you're reordering in those smaller sheets. So definitely something to consider in terms of saving you money and also those all-important shipping costs. So that's about buying and then moving to another really key part of the process in saving and using the most out of your HTV, which is cutting. So a really top tip that no one seems to talk about very much is always drawing a box or offsetting words when you're cutting them. So this counts for all designs and I'll show you what I mean. So for example, when you're designing something in cutting machine software like a Cricut or a Silhouette, try to draw a box around it. So this is the word pens. I've drawn a box around it. Not only does this make it easier when it comes to weeding, but it's also going to save you lots of vinyl because you're not weeding away the whole rest of your sheet. You're just taking that tiny box. And again, especially for word and smaller text, it makes it a lot easier to weed. And this also means that you're left with a really cool cutout shape that you can use. So there's not only drawing a box, you could also offset. So this again is another feature that you get on most cutting machines like Cricut or a Silhouette. All you have to do is select your design, click offset, and it will give you an exact outline. So all you've got to do there is just weed the outline of your shape, and then you're left with your design, which you can cut out. So that's another way of saving lots of your vinyl and also making weeding a lot easier. So for example, here's something I made earlier. So here is an organizer. So you can see there that I've got the word pens, and then this is that kind of offset box that I've used. So I could actually make this project again. You could make matching jumpers with it, which I think was a really cool effect. So you can see there, looks just as good in offset. So definitely something to try, especially if you're working a lot with text, because that will make your weeding easier. You'll be left with these really cool pieces that you can use as well. So the next thing to talk about is using a cutting mat. This is absolutely the #1 way to get the most out of your vinyl. So for example, here is a Happy Fabric cutting mat. So we sell these in different sizes on our website and they are compatible not just with the Silhouette machines, but also with Cricut and other cutting machines. So it's got a slight tack to it. And what it means is, whereas you can cut materials with or without a cutting mat on some cutting machines, if you have got those scrap pieces of HTV or leftover bits, you can simply stick them down onto this mat to keep them in place and still cut out of them. So that's really, really useful. And then, say you've got 2 different colors of the same type of vinyl, you can cut them both at the same time, which is really, really cool. So for example, this is some of our Happy Fashion. So it also enables you, when you're using a cutting mat, to cut not only lots of different pieces and scraps, but also 2 at the same time to create that really cool kind of half and half effect. So that's another really great way of making the most of your HTV. And using your scraps, which is to pop them on a cutting mat so that you can use even the tiniest of pieces and still cut them professionally. So all is not lost. Never ever throw away any scrap pieces of vinyl. As you can see, I've got my own little pot of HTV from some recent projects, all different types in there, and that's what we're going to be working with today. So we've also got some great videos on our channel of things like hole punching vinyl for those smaller pieces. Also got our creative expert Ben, who made a terrazzo style bag by again popping his scraps on a cutting mat and then cutting out this really cool style design. But for today, I'm going to keep it really, really simple, show you just how effective it can be when you use all of your scraps up at once, and why it is so cool when you save them and you can use them in a project like this. So I'm just going to tip them all out. Got a bit of everything in here. So we've even got some happy glow. So you can see there, some nice little stars. So really cool effects. And what I've got here under the happy press for is the scraps jumper. So again, this was all made using scraps of HTV as well. So smaller pieces. Again, because I was using my cutting mat, I was able to put them into the silhouette machine to make this lovely jumper. So I'm just going to move over here. Apologise if it gets a bit blurry when I'm out of focus. But what we're going to start off by doing, as ever, is just giving our jumper a bit of a pre-press. So pop the drawer in here. So one thing that's very handy for a project like this, if you're using a Happy Press 4, you've got that pull-out drawer so that you're not near to the heat, but you can really fiddle around with what you're doing, which is exactly what I'm going to do now. So let's see what we've got. So currently my press is set to 150 degrees. So that's perfect for our glitter vinyl, our flex vinyl, and also our happy fashion as well. So I'll do those first, and then we can do another layer if we've got any flock there as well. So another thing to point out with your scraps, it actually doesn't matter too much if, like this little piece of glitter, you've got no carrier sheet on there. Maybe you've hole punched it, or just the way it's come off the mat, it's got no carrier sheet. You can still press these absolutely fine, so don't worry about that. So you can see I've got some really interesting random pieces. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to grab some scissors, and I'm just going to make a really random design. So this is quite fun, actually. Look at these little, you can see where I've used that box around the text kind of thing. So I'm gonna literally just rip that up. Got some nice flowers as well from some hand cut projects. So it's not always cutting on the cutting machine. Put that on there. Could probably layer these up too, which might look quite fun. They're all different colours as well, which I love. You can really see just how much we've been going crazy with different types of vinyl lately. So what's also probably going to be really helpful is if you are not like me, is labeling. So maybe having a different part for your flock scraps, your flex scraps, just so that you can really tell what's what when you're applying them. For example, Happy Flex is really, really good for layering. So a lot of Happy Flex probably will be used as our base today. So you don't have to use the scraps exactly as they are. You can get as creative as you like with it. This would be a really fun project to work on with my little brother, actually, because he would love something like this. It's really easy for him. He wouldn't have to do kind of any cutting or anything like that. He would probably sit for hours and play around with this. What else? So Happy Glow, if you haven't tried it yet, is our HTV that we brought out this year that actually glows in the dark. So it's really, really cool. So I think it's a bit boring so far for what it can be, but I think I'm going to put this down as my first layer for now. And then I'm going to start layering up. So as ever, pop your release paper on. Under it goes. And I'm going to give that 10 seconds because I've got a mix of glitter, flex and a tiny bit of fashion in there as well. So if you're ever not sure what something presses at, every vinyl order that we send out goes with a really handy DIY sheet that will tell you what temperature, time and pressure and stuff to use as well. So I'm going to peel the carrier sheets off so that we can do some layering. Some of them have already got their carrier sheet off, so that's... So what I can see here is that I've hand cut something because I can actually see the pen line on the yellow, but it's kind of adding to the effect. Might move the camera so that you can see more clearly what is going on over here. Ooh. So if you take a look just there, just moving you around a bit. So this is where we're at so far. So it's already looking really interesting. See if I've got any carrier sheets left. I have, there's one here. That's quite a nice little flower outline there. The one on there, yep. So this is a really interesting project actually, because this could not be recreated in any way, shape or form. Like I would not be able to do this again, even if I tried. So let's layer up now. Pop some of that over there. Obviously used a lot of circles lately, so I've got a lot of circular outlines going on. Some more glitter. And maybe some more fashion as well, actually. So I've got like a heart here. I'm going to just take the outline of it. I think that looks quite cool. So a nice little happy fashion heart. Be in the middle. A bit there. Got lots of this gold. I can't remember what I made with the gold, but it's very Christmassy. That there. Again, you can overlap them. Oh, this is nice. It's like a gold rainbow arch. It must have been a hand-cut rainbow project that came from. Got the actual heart there as well, the happy fashion heart. So we'll put that there. So already we are coming together quite nicely in terms of different shapes and colours. It's actually quite hard to choose. It's weird. I'm actually being perfectionist about something that is random. So, lots of glitter on here. You can tell I've really enjoyed the glitter this year. So I think we're about good for our second layer. You can see it's really building up. And I will show you properly at the end in focus more, exactly what it looks like. Again, let's give it 10 seconds. So you can always use as well. So this is a little craft punch. What you can do is simply peel back the shiny carrier sheet of the glitter and just use these little craft punches. This one's really cute. This is like a little elephant. So there's a tiny little glitter elephant in there. I'll pop him on in just a second. We are layering up nicely. Ooh, oh, I like this. It's like cheese. So I'm going to put that there. So I'm just going to open up those little elephants I just made. Oh, look at that tiny little, can't even see it, it's that small. It's a tiny little glittery black elephant. So put that on there. And then I'm just going to press it again before I take those carrier sheets off, actually. Just stick those down. And I'm also going to bring you back into focus properly so you can actually see. Okay, here we go. So we're nearly done with our scrapped jumper. Then we can always add to it at a later date as well. So already you can see got some carrot sheets to peel off still. Let's do that. So this is flex, so this will come off while it's hot. Got so many scraps all over this desk. So what else do we have? This one up here. And this one. I really like this yellow. It's kind of like a cheese. Like the cheese with the holes in it. And fashion. I think this might be my new favourite style of project. I might just start doing this all of the time. I think it's really effective, whether it's hand cutting that you're doing or machine cutting, because these scraps are a mixture of both and they are just really cool. So that's all my carrot sheets off now. Look at that. So we've got some glitter and we've got some fashion and we've got some flex. We've got a bit of everything on this jumper, which is actually a really nice way to display the different vinyls we do. So that's just one idea. So obviously you could do this on a cushion or a tote bag or anything like that. It's a really kind of artsy way of creating a pattern. So what I'm going to do, even after this live stream, I think I'm just going to carry on putting loads of different shapes all over it until it's absolutely covered. I'll show you what it looks like later. So there you go, you can see. So yeah, so really simple, but some really great tips at the same time on how to not only save your vinyl scraps, but also save yourself a bit of money as well, in terms of if you think you're ever going to use the color and stuff again, or if you're using the HTV regularly, you can buy in those bigger sizes. But also when you're cutting, be mindful of using up all the space. I know some cutting machines do kind of rearrange your designs to make the most of the space, but also consider the offset function, so drawing a line around it, or drawing a box around text, just to make it easier when you're weeding and also save a lot of the HTV in the surrounding space as well. Definitely, if you haven't already, invest in a cutting mat, because then you can stick all of those smaller pieces or even 2 HTVs at once to save yourself time on cutting, but also just kind of rescue and still get that professional cut from your scraps. It can be really effective to have one bigger design in lots of different scraps of HTV colours. So again, have a look on our channel if you need any inspiration on what to do with your scraps. There's lots of things you can look at, including the terrazzo style bag from Ben. We've got some Christmas jumper ideas coming up. So 100% keep hold of those scraps and let us know what you're making as well. So you can tag Happy Fabric UK in any of your makes across social media. We love to see them. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope that was helpful in terms of what to do with your leftover HTV.